now
Nice.
it's coming back on. Doing my Undead Zone thing, playing nothing because we're just running our mouths, and boom. All right, so welcome everybody to the Undead Zone. I am Porkbutte. With me is Erick, who is fearless leader for the Imperium in H1Z1, who is actually on a fearless vacation and is having a really hard time with the daiquiris and pulling
Yes, we're,
himself away to be on a internet
we
video
we
game
are on
talk show.
daiquiri cam now. I have to
So
take daiquiri away.
I am going to be leaving you with pictures of Erick looking at the beach and musing about daiquiris while we try to run a show talking about zombies and all the latest changes to H1Z1. So we'll see how it goes. Hey Marlon, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Batani.com Saturday streams kicking right off here. We're going to be doing the Undead Zone, going over some of the latest changes in H1Z1. There hasn't really been too much happening this week. The main news has really been on the changes to King of the Kill, the Battle Royale style game match mode that split off from the original H1Z1 game, and now it's part of the second H1Z1 property, I guess. And so they've made a lot of different changes to that over the last week I was looking at that are I think kind of interesting. So one of the main things that we did when we first started H1Z1 streaming like over a year ago was playing the King of the Kill stuff, the Battle Royale stuff, and streaming it. And one of the things that we were always doing was grouping up together and colluding, teamworking, like, you know, making it really unfair for people, like we sometimes do. And of course, that has always historically generated a lot of hate. And now Daybreak released a statement this week saying they're not going to allow for colluding of any kind, and that they are going to put in measures to detect that and basically do things to people who are colluding or trying to do teamwork in a solo mode King of the Kill style game match. So, rest in peace, rip, and you know, that'll be the way it goes. And I'm sure that I'm kind of interested in actually some of the measures that they're using to detect stuff. Sounds like they're actually working on some security measures that could work for Just Survive, don't you think? Erick?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Can you hear me? Okay. You know,
Yeah,
one
you
thing
actually sound great.
I can't see the chat. So if there's anything interesting in the chat, let me know.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'm gonna sit here and drink the daiquiri and
well,
have
why
a
don't
good
you
time.
tell us your daiquiri recipe, really? Because I was watching you brought me into the kitchen when you made it, and
Yeah, since I'll
I
bounce
was a
around
little
because I'm
questionable about it because I just saw that with the alcohol bottle go in there and it went in there for quite a while. So, what did you put in
it
it?
did. So I come from an Italian family, so we don't really use recipes for anything that we do.
Of course.
And I throw a bunch of ice in the blender. I
Hmm.
throw some daiquiri mix that we had to go to 7 stores to find, apparently, and throw that in there, and throw a bunch of rum in there, and then there you go.
Yeah.
And if the ice is too thick, throw more rum in,
So you just kind of balance it all out until you
which is
get
what I did.
the right ratio for rum and ice and
Yeah,
daiquiri mix. Okay.
yeah, we do it with daiquiris, we do it with coladas. I mean,
Yeah.
this will cost you $20 at the beach. So I'm sitting here
Right.
going, probably cost me $1.50.
Oh, that's the way to do it. I mean, so do you like it like almost like a snow cone, or is it more like you like it to be more liquidy?
Well, I'm out on the balcony. It's about 96 degrees out here.
All right.
So I'm going with the ice at this point. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
we go with
cold.
the snow cone variety here. I think
All
it's
right.
kind of snow coned up here. We'll go back to daiquiri cam here.
Just
Nice.
flipping it
That
around.
picture had look good with my. Look at that. So we got the big snow cone area right around here.
All right.
And
That
a lot of
looks really
alcohol.
good,
So I think we're in
man.
good shape.
And it's
I
gonna
wish
last
I
you a
wish I could make
while.
one.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could make one for you, man. But
I'll take a rain check, so it's all good. Um, some
we've been
other
doing it all week, so it's pretty easy.
Some other things that I've noticed too, with the King of the Kill patch notes is that they're finally putting in measures to catch people who log out when you're dying. So like when you are about to die, I think it's been an exploit where you could like just randomly log out and then you don't get the credit for like dying, and then it messes up your kill death ratio, which is stupid.
Hmm.
And so they're going to be putting in measures that will like prevent you from doing that, and or like again give you a warning and a stern talking to should you do that. So it looks like
So they
they're starting to implement like back end measures that are going to be catching a lot of these exploits, which I'm really hopeful for because it sounds like that is the kind of thing that can be used not only in King of the Kill, but in Just Survive as well. And
Oh, I'm
be
sure.
good.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but you guys have to pretty much catch everything manually, don't you? When you're busting people on
We do.
Tranquility.
Well, it's a little bit manual and it's a little bit research.
Hmm.
So, if somebody's using Magic Bullet or something like that, we can see that in the kill log because we have a kill log access.
Hmm.
And if somebody's killing somebody in a really strange way, we'll actually see how they've killed them and things like that, and it'll be pretty apparent.
Okay.
But that's one of the only things that we can catch by looking at the log file. Other than that, it is video submissions to us by folks that we can verify the
Hmm.
location and everything and layout, as well as catching them live. It's the vast majority, and we catch so many people live. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I really like the fact that we started putting up on our Imperium forums basically a ban thread for all the people that we've banned. And we like list very transparently like why you've been banned and what this person did to deserve it. Because in the past it was creating a lot of problems. You
mhm.
said that you had a couple of issues where like entire clans were threatening to leave because they thought we were unfairly banning people. Is that right?
That has happened. I mean, and it's going to happen, right?
Right.
Because sometimes in these type of games, you can have a lot of drama. You can have a lot of dedication to the clan. Like our guy couldn't possibly be doing that. How could you say that?
Yeah.
Even with video evidence, right?
So.
And sometimes they think we're unfairly targeting certain individuals. I mean, we had a clan, and we had two people in that clan that I think two of us, two admins, we independently banned the same two guys twice.
Mhm.
And the reason we banned them was because we had video evidence of them doing something. The problem was it was just that their names were so similar that you couldn't catch it. And the people who were doing the bad stuff were intentionally imitating them to
Mhm.
get them banned. And we did it twice. They were a little agitated. Their clan leader was, but we unbanned them. We looked at the video evidence. We reviewed it. They were right.
Mhm.
There's no problem if we make a mistake on banning people. We don't have an issue with that. It's not some sort of we can make a mistake thing, right? We
Yeah.
can, and when we do, we undo
Well,
it.
it's always good. Like, if we're wrong about something, we're wrong, and that's good. We actually had some new people. It looks like in the audience today. We have XXF4 Tall Fish, and some other people asking what this show is all about. So this is basically a talk show about H1Z1. We are the Imperium, and we run a whitelisted server called Tranquility. Eric is actually the head admin of that server, and I help him with things that he needs as well to run that. But we also have a clan that runs around on the server and elsewhere as well. And yeah, so anybody can go and sign up. We actually still have codes, which is kind of a miracle right now. But yeah, if you want to give it a go, we run it basically anything goes, but we will ban the ever living shit out of you if you try to use exploits or cheat or do other things. So I'm going to drop a link in chat. If you want to get an H1Z1 code and free skins, those are in there as well from the Matani.com. But you can get on the whitelisted server of Tranquility and run around and not have to deal with the kind of hacks and exploits that you have on the public servers. So give it a go, give it a shot, and if you do want to cheat, be prepared to get banned ruthlessly. Um, so that is the skinny on that.
Yeah.
How's
And one of
your
the things we've been trying to do, Marconius, is
yeah,
get a lot more formalized in how we ban folks, right?
sure.
Last wipe, it was, hey, we're going to try this out, see how Tranquility works. We're going to administrate the server. Here, we're trying to be a little more formal with how we're doing it. Get some things in writing and work with folks.
Yeah. Well, and we've also have server admins that aren't even a part of the train or a part of Imperium now. So like we
Mm-hmm.
have bringing in people who want to see this as a community and want to see it be successful and grow and have the same goals that we do. And we're more than happy to share the responsibility of running it with them. Um,
Whoa.
so I think it's going to be really interesting. I know that there are some things we talked a lot last week about the server or the changes that they were bringing into Just Survive. So I don't want to rehash
Mm-hmm.
too much of that. It kind of seems like we're at that end of the summer dev spin down. And everything's sort of on hold while people are finishing up their vacations and enjoying the last bit of summer here. And I'm sure like once we get kind of into school starting back and into the fall, we'll start seeing some major patches and changes coming out. Do you have any idea when the next server wipe's going to be?
We don't, and unfortunately, they don't even give us any advance warning.
Hmm.
Being that we have a whitelisted server, we find out pretty much
When everybody else
when
does.
everybody else does.
Yeah.
It's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that as far as Daybreak is concerned, it seems like they are really accelerating some of their work here in the
Hmm.
summer. So that's really nice to see. It is. Um, you know, hopefully we can get one of their devs on at a later show
Yeah.
and have a nice conversation with them. Right.
Mhm.
I hate when those
Well, they've
shows
been
go
incredibly
to
active this summer. I
yeah.
take that back. Like, there are some game studios that spin down in the summer, but Daybreak has actually been really active. So,
They
props to
have
them for that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems like they have sort of a renewed view of what they're trying to do with H1Z1, and that's kind of nice to see.
Hmm. It sounds like they have some interesting things they're trying out. I know that I think it was Steve George, or one of the main devs, hinted that Moe was talking about it in chat. Hinted that he was not really very pleased with some of the things involving base construction, and that they're looking at maybe bringing some balance into that. I know a lot of people have been complaining about just the overall size of bases in general. Um, they're
Hmm.
getting so large that it's becoming very, very hard to break into them and steal stuff. So you just have like a impenetrable fortress now with a lot of these bases getting to be the sizes that they are. So, um,
Yeah,
have you guys had any success getting around that lately, or you're just kind
not
of dealing
really. I
with it?
mean, yeah, when you make a mega base, I mean, it's a mega base, right? What are you
Right.
gonna? How much boom do you need to blow through all the right doors? And it's really picking the right doors, and it's a little lot. I mean, I think we have bases that are 36 and sometimes 64,
Mm,
ground tampers large.
that's crazy.
Perfect. Uh, when you create open worlds, right? As
Yeah.
we know from the ones we've played, your players always find a way to do the things that they want to do, right?
Mm.
And they have found ways to make these bases, and they're large clans too. They're not small clans that are
That's
kind
funny.
of
I remember
glitching their way.
when we were first starting in H1Z1, like I think we could put together like 9 ground tamps, and that was like a big deal.
Hmm.
And so those bases were like, oh, look at this stuff. Um, but yeah, like it's it's gotten a lot bigger than it has in the last year. That's for sure. Um,
Yeah,
Moe, that's
one of the
okay if you
things I
had to
think.
leave.
Go ahead.
If you had to leave Tranquility, Moe, that's all right. We actually have had some improvements on the lag, but I understand if your connection to it is not as good as it used to be, or should be. But that is something that is always constantly changing and improving. It seems like they'll do a patch that's like bad, and everybody gets a lot of
Hmm.
server lag, and then things will kind of even out a couple weeks later. So I think that really happens around the time that they do the server wipes, don't you think?
It does, and really that's your time of your highest activity, right? One
Hmm.
thing I've noticed on Tranquility is when it's the first weeks of base building, we tend not to have the random guy running around and shooting people that are trying to gather scrap to build these bases.
Hmm.
That's why I think we get some of the bigger bases too. Is because everybody lets everybody build.
Yeah.
That's probably going to change now that I said that. We'll probably get Exordius. Exordius will come back and he'll just randomly go popping everybody, right?
Yeah,
So
I know that they've been doing some raids and everything. So from what I understand, it's becoming meta now to make multiple bases and to store your stuff in very obscure places. So people might think that you have a lot of stuff behind this like super mega base, and you don't.
mhm.
And it might be like some shack in the woods that actually has everything in it. So I think that that's kind of funny as well, how people are starting to make decoy bases and stuff. So that's interesting.
That is absolutely what a lot of folks do, and you put a little bit of everything in all your bases, so
Mm,
that if you get hit by one, the cost to get into the base far exceeds anything you're going to get out of it.
yeah,
I think everybody's doing that. I mean, because it's just so easy to get in,
yeah,
And then you have glitches like we had in one of the patches recently,
yeah.
where you could take the aluminum bat and you could glitch it so it took no damage, right?
Mm,
And then you could beat down doors with it, or gates, right? And
mm.
nobody likes that.
So that has been a particular issue. I actually sanctioned somebody testing it out last week, and they they tested it out on somebody else's base, and so it caused a little bit of problems there. But we reversed it, and everything was hunky dory after that. But that's another thing. We're always interested if
Was
there's
that?
something that could be like game breaking. You can definitely test it out on Tranquility, but
Yeah,
it's always better to test it out on your own stuff and not necessarily on somebody else's. So yeah,
yeah, or one of your buddies' bases, right? And
right.
have them right there. And that's part of we could catch somebody and ban them. And I know we banned our own people
Mm-hmm.
um, for some of that testing, right? And it happens, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Um, but yeah, I mean, so that used to be the nice thing about having Tranquility, because it was our waitlist server before we opened it up to the general public, right?
yeah, we just play around
Uh,
with it, try things out. It was like our own private test server, really.
right, and we did do that, but it didn't get a lot of activity. And then Spanx had that great idea, let's make it an open world for everybody else, because
Mm-hmm.
we hate playing on the public servers
Yeah.
because there was so much hacking going on, right? And there still is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new game. They're going to introduce bugs. One of the things, and I wrote this up, and it's a good time, I think, for us to talk. We've got the forums imperium.news, right,
Yeah.
Marconius? And we have a section up there that is public for everybody on the Tranquility server. We post things there about it. We write articles about it. There'll be more and more. The people who play on Tranquility are welcome to have conversations there and interact with us there. And we want them to do that. We want interaction with the people who play on TQ.
Yeah. It's a
But
major
if
thing.
if you're yeah, if you're the type of player who wants to exploit every single new glitch every time it comes out or it's found, Tranquility's not the server for you, right? We want people that play within the general, bounds of the game and want to do that.
Mm.
And I think we'll create a nice tight knit community doing that.
Yeah, and I think everything goes. It's just don't use exploits, hacks, cheats, all the other stuff. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, Marlon, you should, in theory, always test it. I do understand it does feel good to test it on somebody else. It's just walking a fine line there between what could get you banned or not. But anyways, how's your daiquiri? Is it still
daiquiri is
frozen?
phenomenal,
Really?
phenomenal.
Wow,
Still frozen. We got
nice.
it here. Got a
You
little
actually got a lot of
condensation
daiquiri.
here.
You got a lot of ways to go on that. That's you got to power through, man. We got
Well,
about
you
30
don't
more minutes,
you don't
so.
you don't want to brain freeze. This is about my seventh daiquiri today. I don't know what you're talking about. We
Wow,
start early here
it's not
in the
even five
tropics.
o'clock yet. Well, that's
Oh, I
somebody's
think
on
our first.
vacation. You
I
had
think
some
we
for
started with
breakfast.
coladas at 10 for breakfast.
Wow,
So that's how we started the day. A little coconut. That's good. It's almost like cereal.
nice.
You know.
So, what do you think about like this whole? I've heard rumblings about what H3 is or H2. I don't know. Like, so what is the next thing after? Because I again I don't play as much as I wish I did. But what is the next thing for H1Z1 that you've heard that people have been talking about? I mean, we definitely need to work on getting the bugs fixed and the exploits, you know, sealed up. But what is the next big thing for the game, you think?
I think from a player perspective, they would like bases to be fixed, right?
Right.
People can't glitch into them, and some of the mechanics of base building to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
I love the concept that Daybreak has with making bases harder to build. I'm good with that. Make it harder to gather the resources to build the bases, but make it easier to actually use the base building mechanics. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that will be huge. I know a lot of people, and this is very controversial. They want to bring back, bullet components and breaking down bullets and rebuilding bullets in the caliber type
Like,
that you want.
okay, so that's
But
gonna
I
put
love
some scarcity on that, and people are worried about that because they're not gonna be able to pew pew as much.
Well, that is how it is today. So that was introduced in the last patch. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
fact that you can't break down bullets anymore. Um, no, I just think it's fantastic. We had an event where I think Spanx ran it. We ran down Main Street of PV with melee weapons and tried to control the main street
Yeah, I
with
remember
just
that.
melee weapons,
Yeah.
and that's fun. I think because I'm holding my phone, so sorry for jittering back and forth, guys. Um, the I love the bigger use of melee weapons
Mm,
because it brings a whole new tactic into the game. Right, you can come in fresh and make them expend their ammo until you're all battling with melee weapons. Right,
right.
so that's an interesting thing. The change that they're going to make where you can't resurrect yourself or spawn in the same sector that you died in immediately will make a big change to the game.
Yeah.
Being able to come into the same sector was a big change because you could just keep throwing troops, right? Keep throwing bodies at your enemy. And that made it a little challenging to defend.
Mm,
And I think that making that you have to be a certain distance away or wait a timer to get into the same section, I think that's good.
this is kind
So
of
I
some
go ahead.
population control, basically.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well, like, what about like that's probably like near term, but what about like long term? Are they gonna look at making the landscape bigger, like adding more space, adding more people? Like, I mean, I
They
guess
do.
that's really
They
more of a question for a dev, which we should get on the show actually.
I've been begging you. You know that.
Yeah, I know you have.
I'll beg you for more TQ codes too. Now that we're down to what 7 days or something.
Oh,
So
we'll we'll make do. We'll make do. But no, like
we'll do.
I think it's gonna
So
be interesting, like to see how they now take they I think they're really working on fine tuning the sandbox elements, and then now I think they're just gonna after that make the sandbox bigger and see
well,
what
they
kind of
are. They have
chaos people
a
create.
bigger map.
Yeah.
I know we've heard talk of certain things. I don't know if we can talk about them yet, so I'm not going to say anything. But there is a second generation map that's larger. I don't
Mm,
know that equals a bigger login base
yeah.
right yet. I think some of the fine tuning with shrinking the base size or making it harder to make bases that are mega bases.
Mm,
Um, so I come from a little bit of a coding background, right?
yeah.
And I look at the things that they're probably shooting through the timer and the checker. And I'm thinking extremely large bases probably put a pretty high overhead on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, talking to a dev will give you the real story on that. I'm speculating a
Yeah.
bit here,
So we should
but
really
we
get a dev
notice
on.
when our bases get to be certain size, and a lot of them,
Yeah.
that certain things slow down. Metal melts slower, things happen, and there has to be some resetting to make that happen at a normal pace.
Right.
I think that's part of the problem,
Well, that makes
right?
sense. I mean,
So,
there's only we were just talking about it last week, and it's something that I think is really hard for people to wrap their heads around. Like when you have a game like Eve Online or WoW or something like
mhm.
that, you're tracking all the things that are like a part of a character or a spaceship, but they're not like actual items, and they're on a sheet somewhere that's just adding a percentage point here and there to like the stats of the spaceship or the character. But like in H1Z1,
Right.
you're running around and there's all these actual items that are laying somewhere or are doing something somewhere. Like it's not like you build a base and the item just now becomes part of the base's stats and disappears. Like the item is physically there somewhere. And so
Yeah.
that's a lot of stuff for the server to actually keep up with. So, you know, you have your shirt, your skin, you know, your fancy like uh, kit and all that stuff laid out, and then the server's got to track all that plus 50 other people around you, and so that really puts a lot of load on it in a way
Oh
that I
yeah.
think
Well,
people aren't used to thinking
think
about.
about think about all the beehives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the furnaces, all of the barbecues. Um, everything that's out there, all the decay on all the walls, all the objects within a base, everything that's going on at every second. And that's a lot of checks to put through on a server side. So I think some of the refining of code will help with that, right? As we've seen Eve do that. Eve is more server side, right,
Mm-hmm.
for the activity, whereas H1Z1 does offload some things to the client on the PC side, but there's still a tremendous amount of server side activity.
Yeah,
And think of all the things that are respawning, right? So, am I going to respawn
lots
something
of
in
stuff.
this place that somebody looted, right? And
Yeah.
you start getting into the tens and hundreds of thousands of things
Mm-hmm.
that are being checked every so many seconds, and I think that puts some load on the servers.
Yeah, no, that will for sure put load on the servers, and every little item counts. So
Yep.
it's a continually evolving process, and I'm sure that Daybreak kind of realizes where they are in terms of moving forward on that. So it's nice that they're making such fast changes and working hard to adjust it. So who knows what the future will bring? But yeah,
Yeah. So,
um,
so the other thing that I think players want is a better clan system.
yeah, yeah.
You can still only put 12 or so people maximum in a group,
Hmm.
and I think people want that to be much larger. We have much larger clans on Tranquility than that,
Hmm.
and would really help them.
Yeah, that's something that seems to be a thing in MMOs in general. Is, and I've noticed this now because of playing Eve, and I've been a long time WoW player, but like also checking out Arcade and H1. Everybody is doing the social system slightly differently. Like how they group actual players
Hmm.
together is very, it differs from game to game to game, and it seems like some companies have this idea of like, well, you know, we're really just going to have kind of individual solo players who might group up every now and then, um, or you know, we could have thousands of people playing together under one banner like they do in Eve. And I think there's some kind of better middle ground that will scale, but like,
Hmm.
I don't really know how it is that they approach it, because I mean, like you look at something like Arcade where the guild size is at a maximum of 100 people. Well, I mean, that's kind of a small guild size, really. And
It is.
sure, like that uh, is probably that way for some reason, but you know, there's not really, it doesn't really, it's not apparent. And then you're limiting like the party size for groups in H1Z1 to 12. I mean, that's cool, but like, why is that at 12? And I mean, I understand that, you know, you can definitely break some mechanics by throwing 40 people at them, but that's kind of part of the beauty of MMOs is you can design a game that works great when you throw a couple of people at them and they work normally, but then when you throw 40 people at them, it's a completely different story. And I like that.
Oh,
I like taking them and you know, finding out what's wrong and how we can break stuff with people.
well, I got to tell you, I played Eve since, I don't know, 2007, 2008, somewhere crazy like that, right?
Hmm.
And I consider myself fairly spoiled in the fact that you never have a rendering issue in Eve, right? It's kind of interesting how that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
In H1, you do, right? You can approach a base so fast that you see what's inside it a little bit
Hmm.
before it fully renders, right?
That's crazy.
Uh,
Yeah.
and you don't seem to have that problem in PlanetSide 2 and things like that. I can tell you, I really love how PlanetSide 2 does a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, it just is so mature in what it's doing. and
Well,
it's
the
just
grouping
fun.
system is interesting because you have now fire teams, which can be I
Hmm.
think up to groups of 3 or 4, and then that's a part of a squad, and then you have you have 10 people in a squad, 12 if it's a solo squad, but like 10, and then 5 squads in a platoon, and so you can have 50 people running around blowing shit up, and that's a lot of fun.
Right.
And then all the channels. Actually, PlanetSide 2 has I think the best in-game voice comm system of any game I've ever played. Like so many games have kind of really terrible half-assed voice comm systems because it's a complicated thing to develop, and PlanetSide 2 has by far like the best one. So it would be nice if they took some of those things that they know works, and just borrowed it from the PlanetSide team and put it into H1 because that could be really fun too. But
I agree with you, and when you talk about, it seems to be one of the best ones around that we've seen, right? So when you look at that and you say, hey, when people had a really good game engine, they
hmm
licensed that game engine or used it across many of their games. I
hmm
really think Daybreak should start doing something like that.
yeah, I mean it could be really interesting to see the results of that and you know see what happens. So yeah, well, other than just making it bigger and certainly improving some of the social organization aspects of it,
Hmm?
I got to say we've come a long way because I remember when we were playing last year, we were having to run around with like our shirts all matching, and then everybody else on the server caught on and they'd get on their matching
Yeah,
shirts. So it's a
and
lot
then
better
then
than
you've got you've
how
got
it was.
and goon jump, right? Everybody's screaming goon jump on comms,
Yeah,
and somebody comes on comms saying, you killed me. Like, well, you weren't on
yeah,
comms, you're running around, so you're dead. So shut up.
yeah. That was always fun. That was good times, but I'm glad they're over. And I'm glad that they've made these improvements. So,
Yeah,
um,
they have steadily made a lot of improvements. I think we're going to see a lot more in the next couple months too. So I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah. No, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. So, yeah. Well, what else you got going on today?
To me, well, this is actually our last day here, so it's we're going to eat some leftovers. We're going to hang out and drink here on the balcony for the rest of the evening. I think.
Nice.
After, I'm going to go back to the pool after this. I might watch the meta show. Might not.
What? Sorry.
Yes.
No harm, no foul. I am the substitute teacher today on the meta show as well. So, you're not missing anything. Hey, Lord, how's it
I'm not
going?
missing anything.
You're not missing anything. Or no, but actually, there's been some
I'm
interesting stuff going on in Eve. So I mean, even
yeah,
though I only hear about it tangentially or whatever that word is, it's gonna be interesting.
third party. I'm going to turn back on beach cam
Oh yeah,
because we're at the end of the show.
that's nice. So
So
the
here,
meta show is
yeah.
gonna be coming up here in about 25 minutes. We're gonna have myself. I'll be subbing in for the Big Red Boat because he is at a wedding. Actually, his brother's getting married today, and so he's got to be there in a
Wow.
sharp-looking tuxedo, I'm sure. And he asked me to run the technology part for the stream because the Matani is incredibly not very well adept at running technology. So I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be me, Mittens, and Wild talking about
Oh, nice.
the trip to Delve and all the things going on with that. So that'll be interesting. I know that they've had quite a lot of fun running around in the spaceships lately, so it'll be
Oh,
interesting to
yeah,
hear about that.
I
And
missed that
then
all this week.
yeah,
I stayed up
so
all week to move, and
yeah,
then I stayed up all week to move, and then went on vacation, and then they conquered most of Delph. Kind of
yeah.
sucks.
So well, they did all the heavy lifting for you. So now, if you want to log in
There
and
you go.
see, then you don't have to worry about the hard stuff. So
Well, I
uh,
like that. I like the fleet stuff. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, what are you going to be doing
Cheers.
in H1Z1? Cheers to you as well. I have my coffee that's almost out.
Oh, your Irish coffee. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to kind of cheat. I usually do Irish coffee with Bailey's and Jameson's, and I just had Jameson's, and so I did like half and half Jameson's, and then I found a little bit of like a Irish cream syrup, I guess, that you can put in coffee. So I threw some in there, and it's all right. It's not the same as the real deal, but I'll make it do.
I got it. I want to know if you think Boat's going to be daring and wear the hat with his tux for the wedding.
I'm gonna say probably not. And if you've ever met Bo like in real life, he is always a gregarious kind of person. He's really fun to be around, but he's a little bit different than his boat persona. So I don't want to spoil the mystique in him, but yeah, he's a nice dude. So I'm sure he might be wearing a top hat, like
There
that
you go.
that could be on the table, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so we are uh, pretty much out of things to talk about now.
Well, you got to
um,
go prep for the next show too, so we
yeah,
are going
I
to end a
do.
little.
We could cut this off a little bit early. I mean, I think the main thing here is just based on the Just Survive updates from last week and the King of the Kill updates from this week. There's some crossover, especially with them being able to detect people having bad pings and you
Hmm.
know dropping the hammer on people that are trying to disconnect when they are, about to die and silly exploits like that. It sounds
Oh
like they are going to be
yeah.
rolling out more of those exploits or exploit fixes across the board. So if they fix something in King of the Kill, more than likely they're going to be able to roll it over to Just Survive and vice versa. So it seems like both of
Yeah.
those games have a lot of the same issues, and they'll just tweak it somewhere and then apply it somewhere else when they need to. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Oh, the other big one is did we talk about this? Did we talk about how they're going to start dropping the hammer on people with unsportsmanlike conduct?
No, we didn't talk about that. There,
Yeah,
we talked about it in the pre
yeah, we did. So
talk, but yeah.
we talked about it when we were getting everything set up. But yeah, so I thought this was interesting. Going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show with the patch notes for King of the Kill, they're going to
Hmm.
really be coming down hard on people who are um, not being very sportsmanlike, and so it's one thing to say GG after a good match. It's another thing to call them a racial slur or something else. So it sounds like they're going to really start applying some decency laws to H1Z1 and King of the Kill, which I'm sure. I mean, we've had some issues with it in Just Survive, and they've looked at it and handed out temporary bans as well and put people in timeout. So I think that that's really interesting that a company is getting involved in that sort of way, which maybe 10 years ago would almost be unheard of because the internet is an edgy and dark place. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we'll probably get another. I'll probably get another one of those 4 hour long Steam chats about what is banter and what isn't, right?
I'm sure
From the
you will.
UK. In
I'm
UK, we
sure
call
you
that
will.
banter. I'm
Or
like,
like in Australia, they'd
dude,
be like,
calling someone the N word in local is not banter.
yeah.
Okay,
Well,
get over it.
in Australia, you can call somebody the c word, and it's like a term of endearment, and so they just walk around
Uh huh.
all the time. And
I'm gonna try that with my wife. You think that's gonna go over real well today?
you
No,
have like
no,
one more day of
no.
vacation left, and I think you should probably try to enjoy that day. So that's what I
I
think.
say that I might
Yeah,
never see it ever again.
there you go. There you go. Well,
No, I don't get it. I have heard chat and things in here, and I don't understand it.
yeah,
All right. Maybe it's because I'm old, but you know,
you're
we're
not up
used
with
to
all
blowing people up in
the dank
Eve,
memes
and we
these
go,
days.
no, it's like good game, good game. I mean, what's the
Yeah,
deal? It's GG, bro. Hey, you killed me.
yeah.
Okay. I want to sit around and smack talk you for half an hour, even if
Well,
I'm the guy who killed you.
some people, I mean, they really like doing that. Like that's we had somebody that we kicked out of Arcade because we didn't like his form of trolling. We're like, we're not against trolling, man. Like troll
Oh yeah.
whoever you want. Just be smart about it and don't act like an idiot. And he just didn't know how to like not act like an idiot. So, um, you know, it
I'm gonna be
happens.
honest. I like playing against the other clans on Tranquility. I like
Hmm.
killing the other people. I like that we raid their bases and everything. But you know what? When it comes down to it, if they're on the Imperium forums or they come into our Discord or something, I'd
Hmm.
much rather be talking to them like they're normal people and not your
Yeah.
enemy that you hate vilely.
Yeah, because it's just a game. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people in the Imperium that we might fly against in Eve or we play against in other games, but they still come and hang out with us to play, something else that they're interested in. and to just hang out, because all in all, like, we do this for fun, and it's not something that we do to like make somebody feel bad at the end of the day, or like make ourselves feel like incredibly good because we ruined somebody's Sunday afternoon. So so yeah, like,
It is.
if you want to check out the forums, I'm going to drop a link here. This is actually a link to the Tranquility public forum, and so if you want to check out everything that we do there, you can see, and you can also see our glorious ban list, which we update whenever we spank somebody out of Tranquility now. So give that a check. And
Yeah, I'd really like some of the folks who are on Tranquility or want to come to Tranquility to
mhm,
post some questions or even some comments that we can have interaction with them on
yeah,
more than anything else. It is not only the place to go to get all the updated Tranquility info, right? What we're banning for, and why, and who we've banned for doing it, but also, hey, what do you want to see? Do you have some ideas that you'd like us to tell Daybreak that you want added?
well, it's
We're
always a
all
good
about
place
that.
for feedback. And we
Yeah.
definitely are fortunate in that we do have a line to give them that feedback. So it's been really incredible working with the Daybreak team over the last year to help make improvements and to give them feedback on the different things that they're trying to do to make the game better.
Yeah.
So we're really proud to be a part of that, and we hope that you are happy to be a part of it as well. I think we're wrapped up. Do you want anything to
Okay.
say to close us out here, and then I'll get ready for the next show?
Other than, hey, when you're on Tranquility, lots of folks think that the Imperium's out to help the Imperium and things of that nature. Really, what makes us happy on servers and things that we do is that the people who are there with us are having as good a time on the servers as we're having, right? It's really not about superiority of the Imperium or something like that. We'd love people to come and play any game with us. You don't play H1Z1 with us, but you want to play Archage, come. And nothing makes us happier than when we grab somebody new to the game and help them become acclimated
Mm-hmm.
and learn the game. That's a
Absolutely.
lot of fun to us.
Yep. Well,
That's really all I got.
well, no. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to the Undead Zone, and wish Eric have a happy rest of his vacation, and good luck finishing your daiquiri, sir. It was really
It's
nice.
almost gone now.
Yeah, I've almost feel like I've been sitting here on the balcony, talking
There
to
you go.
you.
That's all.
So,
There you go.
damn, that was that was some good work you did there, man.
Got to go make another one.
All right, well, you go make another one, and
All
everybody
right,
just
guys.
stay tuned. We have the meta show coming on next with me, Mittens, and Wild. So thanks for
All
watching,
right.
and
Thanks for
have
tuning
a
in.
good day.
Take
All right,
care.
bye.
Later.